Hello everyone, I'm Tom and this is Reds Down Under, your Australian-based Liverpool fan pod. Our goal is to create the biggest community for Liverpool fans in Australia. This week I've got two guests. I've got Wayne from the L Files, he's back again, can't get rid of him, love you really mate. And we've got Haynsey, who's from the Brisbane area. You may already know him, he's got his own YouTube page following the Roosters as well. But he's a massive Liverpool fan, can't wait to speak to him. Thank you to Redboat Ventures who've been supporting us with the podcast so far. They've been brilliant with kit and just logistical support and all that sort of stuff. Have a look in the show notes to see what they do. Keep an eye out this week on Facebook and Instagram, because if you'd like to win a 2009 signed Liverpool shirt with Torres, Gerrard, Mascherano and Jamie Carragher, you're going to have your chance to win it for free. So keep an eye on that one over the next couple of days. This is the weekly show. We are Reds Down Under. The season is ending. The Reds are champions, but we'll be continuing through pre-season as well and keeping an eye on all those transfer moves, which hopefully are going to make us just, again, the best team in England. This is the weekly show. Enjoy.
This is the Reds Down Under podcast, the best place to follow the Reds in Australia. Enjoy the show.
We are the Reds Down Under, and this is our podcast.
So we've got me in Sydney, Wayne in Adelaide, and we've got Haynsey up in the Brisbane area. Haynsey, welcome to Reds Down Under, mate. How you doing?
Pleasure, lads. Thank you for having me on. I'm really excited. Finally, we've got a bit of a Reds podcast down here in Australia, which is great. So I love what you boys have been doing. And looking forward to chat with you guys.
Oh, mate, no, thanks. Yeah, it's we've had loads of people who've said the same thing, which is nice. So if we can get the views up to more than 8 a week, then we'll be absolutely laughing. Haynsey, mate, I mean, before we get into it, we did a whole episode on Wayne when he first came and the history of Wayne. You've obviously, you do a lot of content yourself, mate. Tell us a little bit about that from a Roosters perspective.
Yeah, so I support the Roosters Rugby League NRL here in Australia. Obviously, my content, I do a little bit there in the space where I go to obviously attempting to go to every game this year. Living in Brisbane, supporting a team in Sydney, so I'm flying down to Sydney pretty much each week. So yeah, just one of the passionate Roosters fans out there, just going to every game. Sort of documenting my experience, showing what the atmosphere and what the game is like to be there live at the stadium, and then obviously do a little memes and all that kind of stuff on TikTok where I'm saying stuff where I'm just dissing South fans, which is obviously, if you guys aren't aware, they're equivalent to, for me as a Roosters fan, they're equivalent to Man United or Everton. So when every time they lose, I like to take the piss of them and then celebrate my team winning and all that. So it's sort of kind of that's sort of stuff I do. So yeah, so obviously a bit of fun, a little bit of a hobby on the side, which I enjoy doing.
No, it's great, man. And like, how did you? Are you from that area? Are you from the Brisbane area? And how did you become a Roosters fan?
So,
why did you pick the Broncos up there?
Oh, I hate the Broncos. Mainly been in Brisbane. My brother was a Roosters fan. I just loved the colours, the red, white, and blue. And then obviously his favourite player at the time, this is 2002 when I was born. So a couple of years later, obviously at the time my brother, he's 5 years older than me. His favourite player was Brad Fittler. And then I fell in love with Anthony Minicello. So that's sort of one of the main reasons why I supported the Roosters, because of that. But yeah, so, and I once I found my team, I stuck with them. And I've been a Roosters fan ever since. I've only supported one team, which I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, you've got to, man, haven't you? You got to stick with. Have you got a team, Wayne? Are you a rugby league fan?
No, not to be honest. I kind of go for the other egg ball that they play here, obviously AFL. So my team's not doing so great in that, but that's okay. It's another story.
Adelaide. So we got either Adelaide or Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide.
Port Adelaide. Well,
the real team.
If there's an AFL team to support for me, it would be the Sydney Swans. So we've sort of in a bit of a grand final hangover at the moment. So
yeah.
So,
We've been in a hangover since 2004, or was it? Yeah, 2004 we last won it. So yeah,
Yeah, well, I when I came here, I haven't really got an AFL team. I sort of like the Sydney Swans because I went to watch a game there last year. Me mate who I used to work with, he used to play for the Giants in Collingwood, so we always said you should support one of them. And then Chelsea's dad, me missus, supports St George.
yeah,
Is
I
it
think
St
so.
George?
Well, as we
Black-
talk, yeah, St George Illawarra.
St
or-
Kilda.
Oh,
St
St
Kilda.
Kilda. The
He
two different
supports St
saints.
Kilda.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he supports them, and he's trying to get me there. So I'm a little bit torn. But you know, I don't watch it enough to care, to be honest, because I'm all about the Reds. Let's talk about the Reds because,
yes,
lads, we won the 20th league title a couple of weeks ago, and since then the Reds have been on the piss. We played Brighton this morning, first thing this morning. Wayne, what was your sort of takeaway from the game, mate? I mean, it was an action-packed game, wasn't it? To be
yeah.
fair,
Look, I thought it had some great goals, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, it's a dead rubber. And I said this to my mates jokingly, but if you think about it, it's basically a pre-season game for us already. Klopp, goodness me, shows I think I'm the one on the ale. Sorry, Slot is Slot is, just, kind of just rotating his squad, using players, maybe just either putting him in the shop window or just maybe getting an idea again about who he might want to keep. Um, obviously you never like to lose, but overall I thought it was an entertaining game, and um, I think the highlight of it was just the travelling cock themselves. They were fantastic. I mean, I don't know if you saw the video of them after the final whistle went. We were singing and dancing. And other fans don't get it, but it's party time. It's great. So, but I was happy to see Chiesa start. I was happy to see Harvey start, and I thought they played really well, both of them. And no, it was good hit out. And as I said, if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. It's no big deal. It doesn't matter. We're the champions. So I'm just happy to see some fringe players get more game time, and I think yeah, we'll speak a little bit more maybe in depth about some of the decisions Slot made as far as that starting lineup. But yeah, that was my impression. I don't like losing, but who cares? We're champions.
yeah, it's nice to be able to have a defeat like that, and to not be pulling your hair out. Haynsey, is it? I mean, I know. There's been loads of rotation as well, and we've obviously won the league, and the boys are sort of in party mode, aren't they? But is there any concern from your sort of side, mate, where we've had a couple of defeats there and a draw as well? Is there any sort of concern, or are we just all completely chilled that it is what it is until the end of the season?
Yeah, look, I think it's one of the, it's those type of things where, it's not nice losing, but, under the circumstances where next week we're about to lift the Premier League trophy in front of our fans for the first time in 30 years. So I think that's what the mindset of the fan base is. But,
Yeah.
a little bit concerning, though, that you can see a bit of a pattern this year that why Arnie Slot hasn't really rotated the squad, because, it feels like the squad depth, isn't there, where we've rotated these players and, we haven't really seen results. Yeah, it's hard to say that when, we're not in the mindset of being that competitive where we've been the last couple of weeks, where we've already got what we needed, and we're just getting through the rest of the season and then celebrating a league title. So it might be a little bit of concern with our squad depth at the moment, but obviously we've got the transfer window coming up, so I'm sure Arnie Slot, obviously it's his first transfer window where he's able to spend and needs what he needs for his squad. So we'll know more come maybe midway through next season.
Yeah, man, I completely agree. We'll come to talk about a couple of those acquisitions that hopefully it looks like could be on the way in. What about Harvey Elliott? Harvey Elliott scored the first goal there against Brighton, and I think everyone who's been on the podcast so far has been a supporter of Harvey Elliott. I think we all we all like him. I think we've all got a soft spot for him. The fact he's a Liverpool fan, I think, goes a long way for him.
Yes.
With the talk of a certain German who might be on his way in from Leverkusen, we'll come to that later. But is Harvey Elliott going to be a player who's going to be wearing red next season, Wayne?
Wow. Uh, Tough question, to be honest, to answer. I think,
This is tough. This is the tough question
yeah.
show this week, mate.
All
There's
right.
going to be no easy questions this week.
No, I mean, look, he obviously was a favourite of Klopp's, but as Haynsey said, Slot hasn't used him this year for a reason. And I think that's very clear that I like Harvey and I think he's a great player, but Slot likes his players not necessarily big, but dynamic and fast. And Harvey's pace has never really been his strong point. He's a nuggety little kind of player. He obviously has got tricks and skills and can score a great goal. But I think if he were to spring in, let's say I mean, obviously he's tried to use him in that 10 kind of role sometimes. I guess, just behind, I guess the front three is sometimes just playing in there. If you look at someone like Verst, and I know we're talking about transfers, Verst is kind of big upgrade, and that's no offense to Harvey. So if we do sign Verst, and that's something we could discuss later, I think Harvey will probably get sold. I've seen the money they've been touting he's valued at was at 40 to 50 million. That's what they value him at. So I think it's more about if the right price comes in and the other player coming in, if they get the player that what they want to come in, then yeah, I think Harvey will be elsewhere, which will be sad. Because really, he doesn't complain. He's put his head down and he's scored some great goals for us and some really important goals too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a matter of not just saying he's not wanted. I think it's just more of a matter of right price and getting the right player in with
Excuse
that
me,
money.
lads.
So yeah, I'm leaning probably more to the fact that he won't be at Liverpool next season.
And how about you, Haynesy, mate? What are you thinking on it? Would you
Yeah, I
keep
agree.
him?
Yeah, I agree as well. I love to keep him. I love Harvey Elliott. I think his energy, creates that little bit of creativity, and what Wayne said. He scored some important goals for us in important times. So he is a good player, but I just see is he in the vision of the manager, which is it seems like a no because he hasn't been used a lot this season. So I think that he might be sold as well. As
Yeah.
I think, which is a shame because I love Harvey. I love what he does, but the signs are there that he's just not getting used enough.
Mm. Mm.
And then the man, I mean, we can't help it, but the Vert talk is exciting, isn't it? So he keeps coming up. But the man who potentially would miss out the most if Vert was to be signed would be Dominic Szoboszlai in that number 10 position.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I try not to, criticise our own players and give our own players time, of course. When we first started this podcast, I remember saying, I'm liking Szoboszlai, I'm liking his engine, I'm loving his attitude, he never stops. But he needs to start contributing more goals and assists if he's going to succeed in that position. And
Yeah.
I'm still in that place, but fair play to him. He has genuinely started to contribute more goals and assists, hasn't he?
Yes.
Haynesy, honest answer, mate. That Szoboszlai goal against Brighton, did he mean it, or was it an absolute cross that ended up going in?
I think he meant it. He's that type of player. He definitely meant it. Tactical mind games.
Yeah,
That
he did whip it, didn't he?
He did.
whip it.
Yeah.
So we're all saying he meant it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
100%. He meant it.
Yeah. Definitely.
And you know what's funny as well? Like, every time Jack's on and my brother, and he talks about Szoboszlai, he always says, he always drags it past that left post. And this week he's not on, and Szoboszlai scored an absolute screamer where it tucked inside the left post. I mean, defensively, we were all over the shop, weren't we? Let's be honest. But Brighton are a threat. We talked about it last week with Jack. We talked about Welbeck and Matoma and Minter and all those sort of players who can threaten you. And they did threaten us. I think
Yes,
that if there had been more jeopardy on the game, I think the game would have been tighter. And I
absolutely,
think maybe they would have
absolutely.
struggled um, to get at us as well.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean,
but
sorry, Tom, I was just going to say, like, I think yesterday, like this morning's game, obviously, the intensity for us was not what it should be, understandably so, given, that we've won the title. But it also is a reminder, too, that when Van Dijk isn't marshalling that defense, just how much looser things are. So, yeah, they're a good team, like you said, Brighton, very good side. And interesting enough, Matoma in the second half kind of ran the show quite a lot for them. So they've had an interesting season, Brighton, in the sense that I thought they would be doing better, to be honest, just given the players they have. But they've been quite hot and cold. Like they win well one week and then get beaten quite well then the next weekend. So, um, but yeah, yeah. Verge was a big miss this morning, and it showed. It showed.
yeah, I think it's important to we talked earlier in the season. Wayne, I say earlier in the season, we've only done 10 episodes, I think, but we talked early days. I think about where our players we would put Van Dijk and
Yes.
Mo Salah and Allison, and
Mm,
we were really struggling. We were they were up there, but we didn't quite know where, in the top three or whatever. I think
yes.
Van Dijk is, and we talked about it last week with Jack. He's clearly the best.
Yeah.
I think in the world right now in his position.
Yep.
So it is going to be a big gulf when he doesn't play.
Yes. Absolutely.
And I do really like Kwanzaa. I do. I think he's got a big future in the game.
Yep. I
But I think
agree.
maybe a little bit concerning that the gulf is so big between Van Dijk and,
Yeah.
well, certainly between Kanate and the rest of the other options for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. True. And I like that what you said about Kwanzaa too. I think he gets fairly targeted. Yes, he's made mistakes, but he's really young. He's what,
Yeah,
22? And I remember Jamie Carragher at that same age, and Jamie used to make quite a few mistakes as well. I think a lot of
yeah,
people even said the same about Joe Gomez. Um, I think defenders seem to become better probably once maybe past like that 25, 26, where they just mature and that game, I guess, their game kind of develops and that football intelligence. So I hope we keep Kwanzaa. I really do. I know a lot of people might disagree with that, but I agree. I think he's got a big future, and I think we just need to be patient and just give the kid a chance, for sure.
yeah, yeah. I agree. Haynesy, I mean, back to you again, mate. Kwanzaa. Are you thinking he's a big future sort of player, or do you think it is going to be an area that the club are going to have to go and replace him as the third choice centre back and maybe keep him in as the fourth choice?
No, I think he's got a great future ahead of him. Like Wayne said, he's quite young, so he's got time up his sleeve too to develop and all that. So,
Mm.
so yeah, like obviously this morning, yeah, we missed Virgil, but and it's a good experience for the kid as well. So, to have that runs under his leg, and it must be hard too. Like, and I'm not very familiar a lot with how all operates over there in the UK with the Premier League, but like so obviously you've got your main squad. But there's no you've got like under 19s and all these
Mm.
younger academy players. So, but like for example in rugby league, like if Kwanzaa was like playing for the Roosters and he's like a fullback coming through, a young fullback coming through, yeah, he might be the next option. But he's playing in the lower grade and reserve grade, so he's still getting that time to develop. I don't
Yeah.
think that's possible over in over in the Premier League where you don't have
Mm.
that lower grade. They keep playing football over the time. He's just still in part of the squad
Yeah.
and on the
Yeah,
bench, not getting game time. So I
Yeah.
think that's what I was trying to say, that not getting game time. So I think the last couple, obviously playing this morning helped getting game time, and I think that's what sometimes it needs. Obviously train well, develop well through at training, and then obviously taking your chances when you get game time as well.
Yeah, I think so. They've got they've got the Premier League, so the first choice team, and then they've got the under-23s. But I think the thing is that in the NRL, first grade and second grade, you're playing for how many clubs is it in the NRL?
So you got 17 in the NRL.
Yeah, so the 17 clubs have all got a squad of players who some could essentially drop in and out, and
Yeah.
in the Premier League it seems a bit different because the first team in the Premier League has got normally a squad of 25, is it?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and the 25 normally stay, don't they? Like they're either playing or they're on the bench or they're not playing at all.
Correct. It's why they loan out so many players too sometimes, just to say you're not going to get game time this season, so we're going to loan you out. And I think also, like you said, Tom, the under 23s, the level, the difference in levels between playing in Premier League and then dropping down to the under 23s is it's quite drastic. It's quite
Yeah.
big step up. So that's why a lot of them are basically some of the fringe players, especially the younger ones, are just loaned out to other clubs to just get game time. Um, I'll be curious to see if we do bring in a centre back. Sorry, talk about transfers again next year. What happens?
Yeah.
Because obviously Joe Gomez is going to be back, but Joe's
Mhm.
what, 30 now, 31 as well. And obviously there's the whole Kanate thing about his contract as well looming. So I'll be curious to see if they do bring in another centre back and then what pecking order Quansah is in. Or if he is loaned out or potentially sold. But I mean, yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think it will be an interesting one. I think if you loan him out, which I think we all agree could benefit him,
Yeah,
playing as Haynsey said, and I think he's spot on. Playing time is so important for this kid. He
correct.
needs Premier League minutes.
Mm,
The only thing with that is then, you have got Joe Gomez in there who'll contribute, and probably if Joe is going to stay at the club, it
yeah.
will be as a centre back option because the potential full back options for next season.
Yes. Yep.
So maybe Joe will come in, but if you let Quansah go, you definitely probably need to sign a competitive centre back to come in,
Yeah.
and then who knows where that leaves Quansah in the next year or two, trying to muscle back in. So it's an interesting one, but I know it wasn't an ideal result against Brighton. By the way, before I say what I'm about to say, I got up this morning at 7:30 and I'd put my phone on sleep mode so I didn't get any notifications at all from mostly people back home, but also people who follow the podcast who message me and go, that was a load of crap or whatever people say, right? You know what I mean? Because it's good because I jump on and speak to them, but I don't want to know what the score is, so I have to zone out.
Yep.
Anyway, so I get up, I make myself a cup of coffee, I'm sitting there in my hoodie, which I was going to wear on the podcast, I decided not to.
Thank God.
I'll show you it. Hold on.
Avert your eyes, Haynesy. Avert your eyes, everyone.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
Yeah, it's
and you
got corgis on.
you went out in public with that, didn't you?
Yeah, I went for a walk today.
You're a brave man.
You're joking, aren't you? I live in West Sydney. I'm the scariest man in my block. So anyway, I got up and I went on Opta Sport. Fair play Opta Sport. They're normally brilliant, but the option said, "Do you want to watch the full match or the short version?" Right? And I went, "I'll watch the full match." Right? So I clicked on the full match, and there it was, right at the end of the game. The panel of pundits are talking about Brighton's third goal. And I looked at the bottom of the screen, and it said Brighton 3, Liverpool 2. And I was like, what's the point? What is the point?
Mate.
So it not only ruined me day because of the score, but it ruined me day because I couldn't even watch it.
Oh, no.
Tom. I've learnt with that Optus app that you know what when a game's in play, never press the quick links because it will take you to the full match. And I've had the same thing happen to me before. So I thought, no, I'll wait, and then I'll just say, no, I'll start over, and then I get that option to start over. But what do you do?
Absolutely furious, like. But anyway, Optus, you're pretty good. You're pretty good. Fair play
Yeah,
to you. But the fans, man,
how
you
good?
mentioned it, Wayne at the top of the program. Like the fans were amazing, weren't they? And I've
Fantastic.
seen so many good videos of them.
Oh, it's great. It's so good to see. They're just in party mode, and I love it. And they're having a blast. I mean, we could be losing 6-0, and they couldn't care less. They're just having a blast. And you know, if I think even the players are in on it. So it's great. It's great to see, man.
Yeah, the players are in on it. Trent Alexander-Arnold isn't in on it though. If you've seen the images of him,
Mhm.
I had my say on Trent last week, but I don't want the guy to be he's had his moment now.
Yeah,
He got told by the fans what they thought of him.
yeah.
And now let's just get to the Palace game where he can go off a hero. You know what I mean?
I
But he
know.
was looking at them fans and he was gutted, wasn't he? You could tell that.
He was. I think also that not that I want to harp on this too much, but that whole summer of '66 farewell party he had at the AXA ground clearly didn't go down well with a lot of fans. Just seeing what happened online, but I saw a video this morning of you see Trent in his training gear after the final whistle. Just I'm pretty sure it was after the final whistle, just walking around, and you see our fans in the background and stands dancing and singing. And yeah, he didn't look happy. I mean, he didn't even get on. If I'm correct,
Yeah.
right? He didn't get on, did he? Because he brought on Endo for Bradley, if I remember right. So yeah, look, you know what? I said nothing's been said on all that, but likewise, I don't want it to foreshadow, take a shadow any of our achievements, especially next weekend when we lift the trophy. I hope it's just, um, you know, hope Slot has obviously realised that it's an emotionally charged situation, and so don't let it spoil the party. So, but yeah, but look, the fans though, mate, they were awesome. I saw a great one where they're in the concourse singing as well. So party hats. Some of them are wearing
Yeah.
party hats. It's
Yeah.
just great.
Yeah.
It's just great. I mean, like I said, I've never been there, but I also have spoken to a lot of fans that say Brighton itself is a really fun away trip to make because it's such a nice, beautiful seaside town. So I think
Yeah.
that was one they were really looking forward to. And the result mattered nothing to them. So good on them. Good on them.
Yeah. Good on them, eh? Good on them. One player who didn't play in that game and won't play in the next game against Crystal Palace. There's your little transition into talking about next week's
Yep.
games,
Yep.
guys. Was Alexis McAllister. He's been told Haynsey that basically he's off until they come back to pre-season training.
Good.
He's not injured or anything. They're just giving him a nice break, mate. How much has he deserved that sort of break, and how important is he to get back firing again for next year?
Oh, massive important. Macca's been like how he's come to this club, and just can completely transform the midfield. He's been really, really solid for us again this year, and definitely deserves a rest. And obviously, we've got to enjoy the celebrations. Obviously, winning a Premier League title, and then back to work in what's the gap? It's a couple of months. It's very, very
August.
short.
August, I
Yeah,
think.
August.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what? Yeah, they get 3 months off. So yeah,
July, August. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the season started August 16th this year.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
going off
that's
the
not
basis
long
of
at
that.
all.
Late July.
That's like 10 to 12 weeks. Yeah, that's
Mm.
that's not long at all. So yeah, they obviously have their well earned rest, Macca. Then obviously into the pre-season games where obviously Liverpool like they travel a lot. I think they were in Singapore last year, so
Yeah,
they can come back to Australia would be nice. But
I might.
I heard that rumor. I heard that rumor.
Don't be saying that, you with your inside scoop if it's not true.
Nah,
I got stung on that one.
nah. Anyway, I'm not going to say anymore. Anyway,
If they were to come back, it'd be amazing, wouldn't it? And we'd be there, wouldn't we? With
oh, absolutely,
with party hats on.
absolutely.
Obviously we saw Wrexham are coming over here to Sydney. Um,
Yeah.
I'm like, why? It's like we haven't been here in 8 years, and we've seen other teams come here. I think we saw Spurs, we saw Man United come here. It's like we just want Liverpool back. Even if it's in Perth, like I'm sure I'll be heading over to Perth to
Absolutely.
watch Liverpool
Absolutely.
play at the new Optus Stadium and all that. So, but yeah, in terms of McAllister, he absolute gun this year. Definitely deserves a rest and enjoy the celebrations next week, and then end of the massive start of the season come August.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so obviously next weekend we're going to be lifting the Premier League title, so we're all going to be absolutely buzzing with that. Wayne, where are you going to be watching the Crystal Palace game, mate? What are your plans?
Yeah, so I'll be at the Bar once again with all the LFC Adelaide supporters. We're planning obviously a big night that night. Should be good fun. Gonna be wrecked the next morning, but who cares? Nah, it was great watching us win the title there, and I'm sure it's going to be another amazing turnout. So really looking forward to it. So yeah, once in a lifetime thing, maybe. You said these titles don't take them for granted, so you can sleep when you're dead. That's what I say.
Yeah, and I will feel dead on Monday, mate. Are you off work on the Monday then, Wayne, or?
Tempted, very tempted. Oh, look, I've got a pretty flexible job, so yeah, hopefully my boss won't be watching this. But no, I'll probably go in a little bit later that day, but get some stuff done, or maybe I'll just do a work from home. We'll see. So, mate, I'm gonna be. It's gonna be a pretty. I'm gonna be wrecked this weekend. I tell you what, because the missus and I gonna go to this nightclub reunion on Friday night, which will probably go to 3 a.m. with kind of, turning back the clock, and then I've got that thing Sunday night. So let's see
Oh,
how
mate.
let's see how this body holds out, eh?
Yeah, your missus needs to put one of them trackers on you, mate. You might go missing. I might get a knock on the door at 5 o'clock in the morning on Saturday, and it'll be you.
Yeah,
Asking
maybe
if you can sleep on the couch.
could happen. Could happen. Definitely, mate.
Uh, Haynsey, mate, how about you? Where are you watching? Oh, Haynsey, do you go to the supporters club up there
Yeah, I
in
do. I do
Queensland?
every now and again when I'm never in Sydney at Roosters games. But I do go to obviously the Stock Exchange Hotel in
Yeah,
Brisbane, which is the Queensland Reds supporters.
good group.
Yeah, it's a good
Great
group.
group, eh?
A funny story from at Stockies. It's actually they've got a nightclub bar upstairs, and I remember one night it was during Magic Round where it was the FA Cup final against Chelsea where have everyone dancing up on the floor at until like the early hours of the morning. Like I think it was like 3 a.m. It finished, and then they're walking downstairs right as Simicast put the winner in against Chelsea. We're all jumping up and down like lunatics, like every football fan was. It was so funny. They're rowdy upstairs, and then as they're walking out to go home, we're rowdy downstairs. It's yeah, it's a really really cool spot. Obviously there's multiple spots around Brisbane for it, but obviously Stockies is the official one.
Yeah,
Obviously got Pig and Whistle, which is down the road as well. They have every European sport on. So yeah, I'll be there on Stockies on Monday morning. I'll probably
man.
be getting home for. I don't even know if it's worth sleeping, to be honest, because I reckon you rather just push through than having an hour and a half sleep. So
Yeah,
that's the
probably right.
that's the joys of living in Australia when you support a team overseas. The early hour kickoffs.
Oh yes. Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
and I hate how people call us the tourist fans, but we're just as dedicated. Where we're getting up at the early hours in the morning to watch Liverpool play. So, but yeah,
Yeah,
really excited for. Obviously, it's going to feel different. The COVID title, as everyone calls it, but in the pandemic era where it was in an empty stadium, which was cool and all that. Like the fire, the pyro and all that kind of stuff, the stage and the cop and all that was cool and all that. But it's straight
Oh,
normal
so
proceedings where we're in front of the cop lifting the title. Van Dyke, he lifts the title in front of the fans. And then every hugging every fan you see at the pub on Monday morning.
the best bit
yeah.
about that is that come next season, have a guess who's going to be on the promos for the Premier League lifting the title?
Yes, yes. I'm sick of seeing the. I'm sick of obviously every Optus Sport highlights. You see the trophy, it's blue.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know.
we next year we get the red ribbons for at least 9 months, which is awesome.
Yeah,
What
and
about
that
you, Tom?
gold badge, eh?
Yes, yes, mate. Where are you going to watch it, Tom?
So we're gonna go down to Cheers Bar.
I've heard about the Cheers bar.
Yeah, it's. So I've been there a few times, and so we knew obviously the trophy lift was gonna be a big one. So we reached out to Vanessa
Oh, yes,
over
yeah.
at Cheers Bar, and we said, "Oh, Vanessa, look, we want to come down. We want to do social content." She was like, "Great, come down." So
It's gonna be
we're
good.
going to be going down. Jack's going to be coming. Josh, our mate's coming.
Yeah,
Jack's Mrs. Abby's coming. So there's going to be a little cohort of us.
brilliant.
So we're going to go down, shoot loads of content, and get on the ale. Is
Fantastic.
the absolute plan. There's a musician who's playing as well. I've got his name written down here. Yeah, Harry Lambert.
Oh, yeah.
So you know Harry, he does all Jamie Webster,
Perfect.
LA, all that
Yep.
sort of stuff.
It's brilliant.
So yeah, so we'll be bouncing. We'll be absolutely bouncing. And I don't know yet, but I'm hoping they've got one of them replica trophies that we can all have a play with.
And then we're going to
Because
do it
I
again
know,
Monday for the parade as well. We're going to be watching that on Monday
yeah,
night.
yeah. So yeah, so it's gonna be a big one. And when we won the league in 2020, I was working the next morning, and I was in Canberra at the time. I'd only just got there really, and I didn't really know anyone. Me mate John lives in Canberra. Listens to the pod. How's it going, John? Who sent me a photo today of him in the sexiest looking Fiorentina shirt he's bought offline. But so I didn't know John at the time, so I didn't have any mates. So I just went to work. So this time, doing it with a couple of bevies with our kid and our mates will be quite nice.
Nice.
Talking of the Queensland group there, Haynsey, I've been talking to Jules this week, and she was telling me about the end of season party on Saturday the 28th of June at 2 p.m. And it sounds like it's going to be a big one. She said there'll be music, raffles, lifting the trophy because they've got that replica trophy up there. Um, yeah, they'll be doing a trophy lift, and it's family and friends and activities for the kids as well.
Brilliant.
So as I say, that's on the 28th of June. So if you're up in that area, Brisbane area, stop in and go and talk to Jules because it's going to be an absolutely big one. Right, that's what we'll be doing. You'll be seeing us on socials. Oh, as well, before we move on, Max, who's a big supporter of the podcast, he is part of the team up there in the official supporters group in Newcastle. He's going over to the UK
Yeah.
and he is taking with him a banner with Reds Down Under on it for the trophy parade.
Awesome.
So I won't show it yet. We'll wait, but I'll upload it on social media so everyone can see it before the parade to see if they can spot it.
Brilliant.
Yeah, hopefully people like it. Right, let's talk about transfers then, lads. I know it's not quite silly season yet when it comes to transfers. Before we do go on to transfers, Jack said today that watching Liverpool is like the Liverpool players. It's clearly like it's the week before Christmas and no one cares about work anymore. That's what it was like watching the Reds against Brighton. I wanted to mention that. Right, transfer news. Wayne, the man from the L Files, who you get loads of news coming through your site all the time.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Frimpong. That one's
Mhm.
nearly done, isn't it? It looks
Oh,
close.
yeah. I think that one's been done for a long time. Great. It's going to be a great. I think it's a done deal. If I'm correct, I think he was in Liverpool yesterday for his medical. So I've read a lot. Obviously, his attacking prowess down that right side is fantastic. A few question marks about his defensive capabilities, but I think if you look at the system that Leverkusen play, especially under Alonso, he didn't really have that kind of role. His role was more a marshalling role from that side. He wasn't doing necessarily the one-on-one tackles, but he gives us some interesting options on that right-hand side. As far as attacking and whether he even can push even further forward for where Salah is. Or maybe depending what slot does, he might even be more that kind of wing back. Depends what formation, I guess, or tactic slot has in mind. But um, fantastic player and absolute bargain. I think he is going to fit right in. Very excited about this one. Very excited.
Haynsey, I mean, to go from Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was clearly the first choice right back, wasn't he, mate? If
Yeah.
bringing Frimpong in, do you think it's going to be Frimpong will be the main right back, or do you think it's going to be more of a situation of two competing right backs who are going to share the load?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I think he'll get the first crack. Obviously, the new toy, so you want to play with it. And then obviously we've got that option of Connor Bradley. So if that hasn't worked out or was an injury, I think it'd be good too, a good competitive battle where a good selection headache where both of them are playing well. You don't know who to choose. Maybe they suit the style against a opposition defensive line more or kind of thing. So in particular, so I know when Trent played City, Doku just ran circles around him. So maybe for that specific time of game, he's a better defender up against Doku for Man City, so he can play Connor Bradley or for a style for a specific type of game might work. So, but yeah, I still think he'll get the first crack as the new signing once it's official.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think what's really a really brilliant thing about it is we've sort of been in a little bit of a position this season where if Liverpool are winning a game and we need to sit back in. Sorry, Haynesy, I think we've lost your head.
Sorry.
You're all right. You're all right.
Yeah, sorry,
You
just
disappeared.
sorry, just bumped it for a
I was
sec.
worried.
Sorry.
I was worried you were underwater for a second.
No.
Yeah, if we're defending a 1-0 lead late on, I think there's been times this year where Curtis Jones will go on play almost like a right midfielder, not a right winger, or on the left hand side. Having Frimpong and Bradley, who can both play that sort of right position where they're both happy to bomb on, is only going to give us a little bit more versatility. And to be honest as well, I'm really excited by it because I think he's the best we could have got. Like,
Yeah.
Liverpool don't always go for the obvious player,
Yeah.
and that's been the success of the FSG sort of, ownership. But I think Frimpong was the one. So it looks like if we've managed to get the one, then no one can complain, can they?
No.
No one can complain. And he's an attacking player.
Yes.
He's not gone for a Arteta sort of move, has he, with a Calafiori or a
No.
Timber or someone like that? Ben
No.
White.
No.
Yeah, he's gone for an attacking player,
Which
is exciting.
which makes me think he might not be used necessarily as an out and out right back. I'm very curious here. Extremely fast player, very pacey, and I think we've mentioned before, Slot likes his players fast and dynamic, and that Frimpong definitely suits that. Probably doesn't have the passing range, well, who does really? Not many do of Trent, but
Yeah.
very good at beating his man and putting in a cross, and can score goals too. So yeah, it's gonna be very exciting. I think, as I said, it's just a matter of him putting pen to paper. It's interesting that obviously the window's not even open, but here we are. I mean, if you read it, believe everything you read, we've already got 3 players already in the bag, so to speak. So they're not wasting any
Yeah.
time. Not wasting any time.
Well, I think that's the advantage of winning the league with 4 games to go.
Mm,
You know, um, I was listening to a podcast, and I think it was Theo Von. Theo Von interviewed a college football coach,
Yeah.
and he was saying, his mentor, they'd win the championship, and his mentor would be like, right, we've got to meet tomorrow because we need to go and work out who we're signing, because the teams who finish second, third, and fourth are already recruiting.
Exactly.
Like, they're desperate to catch us, so we need to be ahead of it. Well, the other probably one which is more likely of the three certain players to join is Kirkes. Haynsey, mate. Kirkes looks like it might be happening from everything that we read. We've already got two left backs in there at the moment, so you'd have to feel that one of them is going to be dislodged. Who do you think that will be? Do you think that will be Shimakash, or do you think that will be Andy Robertson?
No, it's a tough one. Love Robbo, but he's starting to get into the back end of his career. So, I mean, it would be a great swan song for him if obviously a league title. He goes either retires or he goes plays for another club somewhere. I think that's probably the most realistic option. Obviously Simicast is still quite young as well, but I think Robbo. How old's Andy Robertson now?
31, 32?
31, 32. So, yeah, so he's coming into the late stages of his career. So, he's done everything he can achieve at Liverpool. He's won the Champions League. He's won 2 Premier Leagues, FA Cup, League Cup, everything. So, I think it'd be, maybe it might be the best interest from the club, to move on a senior player like we've done with Henderson, like we've done with James Milner. Oxlade-Chamberlain, all those guys that we've moved on when they're in the back end of the career. I can see where we do that with Andrew Robertson.
How about you, Wayne? What are you thinking about that, mate?
I think it might be the opposite, actually. But I think it's probably maybe how much they might get for Simicast. Kirkes reminds me of a lot of a younger Robbo, full of energy, very tenacious, really kind of got that energy as far as that mongrel energy, as I like to call it. And, he's quite a character too. Um, I think with Robbo, I think if Kirkes does come in, then obviously he'll probably be backup left back. But I think it's also a matter of whether they see that um, what could they get for Simicast versus Robbo as well. So, I mean, if we in my opinion, as I said, I still think Robertson's the better player, better defender. I like obviously, Costa, but I think there's obviously a Scotland captain still there. And Liverpool usually win things when there's a Scottish player in their squad. But yeah, look, one of them definitely has to go. But I think Kirkes is going to be, well, if you believe the Anfield Wrap, they said it was a done deal according to their connections. It was one of the agents or something or training staff at Bournemouth. So um, he'll be brilliant. And he gets to link up also with his Hungarian captain. So strong signing. Probably of actually the fullbacks. I mean, as much as I love Frimpong, Kirkes has got me very excited because he's got that Premier League experience as well. And I probably think it's fair to say he's been the outstanding left back in the league this year. Yeah, so who knows what happens with Robbo or Kirkes. So, Robbo's obviously signals his intention. He wants to stay on and he can still cut it. Um, Tsimikas, I guess he's never really cemented that left back position. And I suspect if the right offer does come in, which it might, then they might offload him just to help, balance the books or just even fund whatever else they need to purchase.
Yeah, I think that if we get Kirkes, I think I love Costa as well. I think his delivery is excellent. He's obviously got a good attitude. He loves being there. I think that if we do get Kirkes is definitely first choice, right?
Yeah.
I think we all agree on that. Kirkes comes in and plays. Andy Robertson would be as close to him as possible, as a sort of two players dueling for the same position. As I expect, I agree with Haynesy. I expect Frimpong to come in and be the first choice on the right side, but I think it'll be. I don't think Frimpong is unbelievably miles away from Bradley.
No.
But I think on the other side, I think Kirkes would be a lot of a stronger option than Shimikas, even though I
Yeah.
like Shimikas. So if you're looking to keep the strongest options at the club, Shimikas goes for decent money somewhere. Who's looking for a player with a good attitude and a good skill set. Robertson stays at the club as a second choice left back, but someone who'll play big games in important moments.
Mm.
We'll see. But again, super excited that I think Frimpong was the best option at right back the club could have signed.
Yeah.
And I think that Kirkes, other than probably that Nuno Mendes at PSG, who looks
Yeah.
like an absolute whale beater of a left back.
Mm.
I've caught your cough there, Haynsey.
Oh, sorry. It's that
No,
time
I
of year
got
again.
left out.
I felt it coming.
I
Let's
try
not
so
make it
long
the
not to resist it. Yeah.
Let's not make it the COVID 2025 title. And yeah, and you know, and then to have the probably the strongest right back option you could have got, and the strongest left back option is a big signal of intent. Now, what would be the biggest signal of intent, and something that I'll be honest, I don't think is going to happen, would be Florian Wirtz from Bayer Leverkusen. Haynesy, is this one that you could see happening, or is this just paper talk, man? Where are we with this one?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. You know, there's obviously whenever there's, you know, when there's players on the market, you know, we're always going to be linked somewhere. Whether or not it's true or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I'm not really, to be honest, I'm not too familiar with the rumours at the moment. I know the other two, but yeah, not really aware of this one, to be honest. So, but
Well-
obviously I'll wait till there's more speculation about it. But we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm not too 100% sure.
Yeah, I mean, Wayne, this one did sort of pop up out of nowhere,
Oh,
really,
yeah.
mate. I mean, he's a player that I think anyone would like to have. Me and Jack tried to sign him on FIFA, but we couldn't afford him. So we
Well,
went for
you know,
someone else.
you know, when this first came out, I was like, it's bollocks, right? It's just paper talk. But then I started seeing more and more, and I started seeing it getting linked in some more, I guess, reputable sources. And I thought, okay, I thought, no, I said he's way over our price range. I said this is just us linking to the papers to either, strategically put City out of the equation, or maybe it's just a smokescreen for another target. So, just to cover it, because they do play these games. But then I saw something today, which I guess the reports are coming out of Kicker in Germany and other places. And, they're usually pretty on the ball with these things. And I thought, well, I said, maybe there is substance, because they're now saying he has met Liverpool representatives. I thought, okay, well, if Liverpool are just, trying to play games with City to distract them from another target that they might be potentially, we're both interested in, I thought that seems odd that they would have met the player. Now, apparently, if City have pulled out because they're saying, what is it being quoted, £125 million is just, it's too much for them. And Bayern were saying that, they're obviously in the lead with this, but now they're saying, the reports say that Bayern actually aren't in the lead, and that the player is weighing up his options. But obviously, from Leverkusen's perspective, they don't want him to go to a direct rival. Um, who knows? It's a lot of money. I think he's worth it. I think he's a fantastic player. If we get him, it would be, huge. And I mean, let's also be honest. We haven't really gotten a big name like this since probably Van Dijk. So maybe all those lean transfer windows that we've had, where we just scraped a few players here or there, or bought players that we weren't necessarily expecting. It's all been because of this. So, um, yeah, uh, it would surprise me if it does happen, because we're not used to this from FSG, especially considering we haven't really sold any big players. But maybe we're in for a big surprise. Look, I'll I think if we buy him, it'll be a flippant statement of intent as far as what we want to do next year. It'd be amazing. It'd be brilliant for us. And I think he'd fit right into how Slot wants to play. Like you said before, how that works with Dom, I'm not sure. I have seen some interesting rumours that the club is willing to part ways with Soboslai. Don't ask me how much of that is true for the right price. But in that number 10 role, right behind the attack, in behind the attackers, Wirtz starts for me. Uh, let's hope it does happen. I mean, it's an extraordinary amount of money. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. I don't.
Yeah, like I don't see it. I don't see it because it doesn't fit the model of what I'm used to
Yeah.
from FSG, and they've had their critics. FSG, they've maybe made some mistakes, but I think we all agree like they've been fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic owners of the football club, really, and so I can't imagine them spending 125 million on the player. But they did offer 100 million for Caicedo last year.
That's what I was thinking too. That's exactly what I was thinking. So could it be they've got already in the bag as far as deals for players going out? They already know in place who they're going to sell potentially.
Yeah, I didn't read the full article, but I did see an article was like Liverpool could raise 170 million in the transfer market. And if you're looking at Harvey Elliott potentially going for 40 odd million, there's a fair chunk of it straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe Gomez could probably get you another 20 million. Simicast could get you 15, 20 million maybe. Kelleher will probably get you 20 million or so. So you know you're getting up there. You're getting up there.
Yep.
I would love to see it because I think that even though I really enjoy signing players who maybe are not at the level that we think they are, but then they really do well and succeed is a part of what sort of is a trait at the moment to be a Liverpool fan, is to enjoy that. But at the same time, I think we also deserve a little bit of a fanfare player.
Yep. I agree.
We didn't get Mbappe. We didn't get Bellingham. You know what I mean?
I know
We
what
didn't
you
get
mean.
them.
I mean, look, if we're honest, like you look at McAllister, I have no idea how we only got him for 35 million because the guy was a World Cup winner, and we got him for a steal there. So maybe not necessarily that kind of level that we're thinking, like Mbappe kind of names, but he was quality. But I get what you mean. I said the last big, really, really big player that we signed was Van Dijk. All right, and we know where that money came from by him. So, mate, if we get Verts, I don't know. I'll be the happiest man ever.
Yeah, we'll see, won't we? So look, I mean, we've talked about the Brighton game. We've talked about Crystal Palace and what our plans are for next week, or this coming Monday morning, really, and then that's the last game for a while, which is going to be sad. We've talked about potential transfers, who's coming in as well. We're gonna. I think we've done it, lads. I think we've absolutely nailed the podcast there.
Yeah.
Haynsey, you didn't hate it too much, did you, mate? Would you come back on again?
100%. Loved it. Thanks for having me on.
It's good.
Mate, honestly, yeah, you're welcome anytime, man.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome anytime. And where will people find your channel, mate? It is a Roosters channel, but it is very entertaining. So where would they find it if they were interested?
So Haynsey_YT on YouTube. If you're lucky enough, if you scroll right down to 2020, there is a reaction to Liverpool winning the league when Man City lost to Chelsea. There is my reaction to it. So if there is a little bit of a Liverpool content in there somewhere, so YouTube
Good
and
man.
on YouTube and TikTok, Haynsey_T is where you find me.
That's brilliant.
Good man. Yeah, we'll. I've been since the early days of the podcast, and because I think we've got mutual friends, Haynsey, over at Cast Patrol.
Yeah, Cast Patrol. Yeah,
Yeah, they're great lads. They are.
that's how I found you guys. That they shared. It's like, oh, there's a brand new Liverpool podcast here in Australia. I was like, oh, give it a follow. How good's this? So that's how I knew it off them. So
they're great lads, but they call me the Grub, and I don't know whether it's a compliment or not.
who's saying that? Mick or is it Adrian?
Yeah, Mick, yeah, all three of them, to be honest.
Yeah,
Jimmy
bro.
gets involved, you know what Jimmy's like. But we did a kicking competition where we kicked like penalty goals, and I think they were surprised for a soccer boy, a football boy, that I could kick it over the black dot a couple of times. I think
Well done, man.
Awesome stuff.
No, they're great lads. They're great lads. And Wayne from the L Files, thanks again, mate, for coming on. You're
Pleasure,
becoming a
mate.
little bit of a feature now, mate. We're gonna have to start paying you.
Nah. Apologies to your listeners. I don't know, poor things. Anyway, nah, man, it's been a pleasure as usual, mate. Thanks, Tom. Haynesy, mate, it's been really good to meet you. I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to
you
connecting
too.
with you offline, buddy.
100%. Thanks, guys.
You boys are legends. Thanks to everyone for joining us for the weekly show. The plan was we'd done plenty of research on Liverpool legends who played, Australians who played for Liverpool. But we're going to take all that information and all the questions that you sent, and we're going to do it in pre-season.
Yeah.
So we'll focus on that, Wayne, in pre-season, eh?
Yes.
Thanks so much to people who are following us on Facebook and Instagram. We are putting loads of content on there, so thanks so much for that. And some exciting news, Wayne, Haynesy. We're going to be giving away, to celebrate Liverpool winning the league, we're going to be giving away a signed 2009 home shirt signed by Gerrard, Torres, Mascherano and Carragher. So we're going to be running a competition this week to enter that.
Brilliant.
Which is exciting.
Very exciting.
Oh, wow.
Very exciting, mate. Very exciting.
I know. I'm gutted. I want it on my wall, but apparently we've got to give it away. So we'll be giving that away. Thank you so much to everyone for following us so far. We have got one more episode left at the end of the season, which we'll do after that Crystal Palace result. I don't know how I'll be feeling at the time. I'll be in bits. But then we've also got guests coming on from Melbourne, Brisbane, WA, Sydney, and I think that's it for now. But we've got plenty of guests on coming into the new season as well.
Awesome.
This has been the weekly show. I've been Tom. That's Wayne. That's Haynesy. The Reds and Mustard. Alley. See you next week. Ta-ra, lads.
Ta.
We are the Reds down